And then I will share my desktop as well. Okay, so let me know once you're able to see the PowerPoint presentation there. Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, I wanted to thank you first of all for joining us today. We're going to start having these calls on a monthly basis just to allow societies to sort of get up to speed on whatever's going on with MemberNation, where we're at with the platform, any new releases that are coming out, any enhancements that are being put into place. But this first one in particular is to help societies who may not be familiar with the functionality that MemberNation offers, to basically help them kind of get up to speed, to understand what the platform does. So that's kind of what our plan is. For calls that have a larger number of participants than we, it may run over time-wise, but I think because we have a smaller number of attendees here, then you can certainly ask questions as we go along. Or if you have questions at a later point, you can always email them to Society Tech, and we'll be happy to answer them afterwards as well. So, as you probably are aware, MemberNation platform is an integrated system that CFA Institute offers to societies to help manage a lot of different society functions that societies have in the past either had to handle on their own or with a variety of different platforms. So this is an integrated platform that's going to be incorporating a lot of those different components. So things like event management, email marketing, customer relationship management, all of those sorts of things will be incorporated into this one sort of umbrella platform of MemberNation. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll be taking a look at a lot of these different platforms on these monthly calls as they become available as part of the MemberNation project as a whole. For today's call in particular, we're going to be talking about specifically about the event management theme, which is the one that has been released thus far to societies. So again, we hope to provide an overview today for those who may not be as familiar with what functionality is available through MemberNation. Okay, so for our agenda today, then again, we've talked about the purpose of the call is to walk you through what event management is all about, what functionality it provides. We'll show you what the event management process looks like from the point of view of somebody who's actually registering for an event that's set up in MemberNation. I'll also show you what the registration process looks like for a society administrator who's actually creating the event in the system. And so basically you'll be able to see that both from the front end and the back end of the platform. And then at the end, we'll talk about what next steps are available. So if you're interested in finding out more about the platform, the project as a whole, where you can go to find out that information, and also if you're thinking that you might want to actually participate in the project, then I'll help you figure out what steps you can take next to kind of get started on that path. So any questions yet about kind of what our purpose is today?
No, we're fine.
Okay. All right. So event management. This screenshot just shows you kind of a comparison of what the MemberNation event management registration process looks like compared to Constant Contact, which is a platform that's familiar to a lot of societies. So on the left, you can see essentially what a registration screen would look like in Constant Contact, and then on the right-hand side, you can see what one might look like in MemberNation. Some of the features that are available through the event management tool in MemberNation, there's a user-friendly registration process, which again, we'll see here in just a second. It provides options for registration as a guest or group registrations. You can set up discount and special pricing. So if you want to offer one rate for guests, a different rate for members, a separate rate for candidates, you're able to do that because within MemberNation you have all of your contacts. So all of the same contacts that you would have in the society portal, those are in there, as well as any local only members that you might have. And those individuals can be badged or kind of tagged with essentially a badge that indicates what their relationship is with the society. So individuals who are members of both CFA Institute and the society would have a member badge on their record. Individuals who are members just of the society and not of CFA Institute would have a local badge on their record. Candidates in the CFA program would have a candidate badge on their record. And again, those badges can be used to offer special pricing to those specific groups of individuals. The event management tool also offers waitlisting. Again, it provides a guest checkout option, so an individual does not have to log in order to register for an event. There are automatically generated attendance and payment confirmation emails that would go out once somebody registers for an event, and we'll see a sample of what those look like here in a minute. And then for each event that you create, there is a custom registration page that is generated automatically, and again, we'll see that in action here in just a second. And a society can go ahead and link to that registration page from their website to allow people to easily find out more about their events and then register for those events. So first we're going to take a look at what the registration process looks like from the point of view of someone who's actually registering for one of those events. The process might look something like this. On your society website, you might have your event calendar with that event on it, and then drilling into that event would give you the option to click to register or to find out more information about that event. So we'll go ahead and take a look now at what that process would look like. Okay, so this is an event that I created in our training environment, and you can see again what this event would look like. Obviously, it would have your society branding as opposed to our training environment branding, but you would be able to see information, kind of a banner image across the top, and then below you would have information about the event itself, details about registering for the event, the tickets that are available, and again, in this example, we've got a guest ticket as well as a member ticket option. Down below, all the information that you would like to include about the speakers, the sponsors, the agenda for the event, all of those sorts of details. And then on the right-hand side, you can have both the information about the event itself, the date and time, and then information about the venue, including a Google image or a Google Map image as well, to allow somebody to easily determine where the event's going to be held. So once somebody sees the information about your event, once they're ready to register, they would decide the types of tickets that they would like to purchase. And as we work with societies and get more in depth in the sort of onboarding process, actually getting the society using the tool, there are a number of different ways that you can set up your ticket types and your pricing. We won't go into those in too much detail on this particular call, since this is more of an introductory to kind of let you understand what the tool looks like and how it works. But again, you can set up your pricing in a variety of different ways, and we do have resources on the Society Center that walk you through those, and I'll show you where those are at. So in this example, we're going to go ahead and say that we're just going to purchase one guest ticket. So the individual registering for the event would select, again, how many tickets they want to purchase, and then click the Register Now button. And then the first screen that they'll be taken to, and you'll see a little bit of a delay just because we're in the training environment too. So the next screen that comes up is asking for information about the individuals who are actually attending the event. Because the way the system is set up, the individual who's actually doing the registering may not be the person who's attending the event. It could be someone's assistant who's registering on behalf of their supervisor. So they have the ability to complete the registration themselves, but then indicate that a different person is actually attending the event. So here they would again fill in the information for the attendee themselves. So I'll go ahead and say that I'm going to be the attendee. I'll put in that email address. And then you can see that you have the ability to link a form to the ticket type. And a form is essentially something that will collect additional information from that person who's registering for the event. So in this case, if you need to collect dietary information for a luncheon that you're having, you can do that. If you need to collect a shirt size for a golf tournament, or you can collect, you can essentially provide almost like a survey if you want to collect information, ask questions of the individuals who be attending your event. You can do that as well. So we'll just go ahead and fill in some of our details here, and then we're going to indicate that we want to check out. And the next screen is going to ask for the details of the person who's actually doing the registration. So again, this could be the same person that we saw on the previous screen, or it might be a different individual. So we'll go ahead and fill this in, and then check out. Then the next screen that comes up will be the screen to actually request the payment information. So here I'll put in a test credit card details, and we'll click that we want to pay. And again, this can use a variety of different currencies, different payment gateways. And again, that's part of the onboarding process with societies, is to figure out again what payment gateway they want to use to collect their fees, what currency they want to charge in, different things like that.
Okay, Megan, I have a question. So we'll be inviting can we also invite the industry participants, industry contacts through the system, right? It's not only for the members or candidates.
I'm sorry, say that again.
If we have our own local list of invitees from the industry, we have the system, we can use MemberNation to help them as well.
Yes, so as part of the onboarding process, your onboarding lead, Joe Mello or Anna North, or the onboarding leads that we work with here from our team, they would work with the society to collect a list of any of the individuals that you have in your own database that you kind of maintain there, and to add those to this system as well, so that you can easily target them and collect those details from them as they register for your events.
And we do have the flexibility of entering more data ourselves, is that correct?
Yes, yep.
Okay, one more thing, we in Pakistan particularly face the issue of exact database, in the sense that if I have the correct name of some person, I may not have his correct designation or correct address, or I might not have his correct email ID. So I was just wondering, if you just get the correct ID, can we use the MemberNation to just shoot out an email to make sure that we have XYZ data from that particular person, so that our database is accurate?
Yeah, so this portion of MemberNation is just the event management piece, but we are actually getting ready to release within the next, I would say, week or so, an email marketing component, which is sort of the next theme of MemberNation, and that would definitely have what you're talking about, the ability to reach out to those individuals who are in your database and ask them to, update their information with you. You can use that to actually market your events that you've set up within this part of the system. So again, that's kind of the next phase of the MemberNation platform as a whole, is that email marketing piece.
That is most important for us, because once we have the proper database, only then MemberNation would be useful for us. And
Sure.
Secondly, let's say if I get an email from MemberNation that if this data entered on my behalf is correct or not, and I just find out that my designation is not correct, and if I write the correct designation, is it going to go automatically and upload the information, or will it come to me and to the society, and the society will have to manually change it in the database?
Yeah, it wouldn't be an automatic update. It would, basically would come to you as an email response. What we can do though is the MemberNation database itself has what's called the bulk uploader. So if you have, if you have just one or two records, then a lot of times it's easier just to make updates manually. But if you have a whole bunch of records that need to be updated, then again, we have this kind of bulk uploader that we can use to, if we have an Excel spreadsheet or something like that from you, we can use that to to sort of automatically update a bunch of records more easily. So we do have that option.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So this just shows you what the individual would see once they had completed their registration process. It's essentially a thank you page confirming what the person had purchased, how much they had paid. They could easily print this out. So again, that's the confirmation that shows up on the screen. And then the individual would also receive the email confirmations that we talked about a little bit earlier. One is going to be an attendance confirmation that would go to the individuals that were entered on that first screen for the actual attendees, essentially confirming that they have registered for the event itself. And then on the right-hand side, you can see the payment confirmation, and that would go to the person who actually submitted the credit card details. And essentially that one just confirms that they have actually paid for the event. So there's two separate confirmations that go out there. So that, again, walks you through the process of actually registering for the event. Again, that part's pretty straightforward from the point of view of somebody who's looking at your event and wants to attend. So now we'll walk through what it looks like for a society administrator who's actually creating the event in MemberNation. So there's some prep work, obviously, that you would want to do ahead of time. We do provide a simple checklist that you can reference while you're getting ready to set up your event. And again, that's on the Society Center, and we'll take a look at where that's at before we're done here today. And then you also would want to obviously be ready to enter some information about the event. So the pricing for your event, what you're going to charge for guests, if you're going to have a special member rate, a special candidate rate, any other sort of special rates. You would want to know what those rates are going to be ahead of time, just to make it easier to enter your information. And then you would also want to decide whether or not you need to set up a new event category. And then the event category is a important part of the registration setup process. What the event category provides basically is kind of a template that you can use for creating your events to allow you to avoid as much duplication as you possibly can, because obviously you don't want to have to do any unnecessary work when creating your events. So again, you can use the event category as a template and you can set certain components for your events at the event category level so that every event that you create under that event category will automatically have those components added. So things like your ticket types. If most of your events are always $20 for guests and free for members, you can set up those ticket types at the event category level. Similarly with your venues, if a lot of your luncheons happen to be at the same location, you can have that venue set up at the event category level, and then again, every time you create an event under that event category, those ticket types and venues will flow over automatically. So, but then you can always customize them, if for a particular event you have an extra ticket type that you're offering, or for that particular event, if it's going to be held in a different location, you can always customize the individual event as needed. So once you're ready to create your first event, this is the URL that's used once the society is onboarded and is using the platform. And again, it's going to be the standard CFA Institute login that you would see. And it's going to be your same details there. So let me take you to, so this is the MemberNation platform itself. And again, we're in the training environment here. And this is an event category that I've created for these training events, and you can see some of the parameters that are set at the event category level. We've got a capacity of 50. We have the registration details that are set here at the category level, so those again flow down to every event that we create under that event category. You can see the events that I've created under this event category. You can see the ticket type. So we've got that guest ticket, that member ticket that we saw previously. And then down below, you can see the venue that's added here at the event category level. So again, once these components are set at the category level, then you don't have to recreate them. And instead, you would just indicate that you're ready to create a new event. So we're going to go ahead and click that. And it's going to launch into what's called the Event Builder tool. And you'll see there are two different interfaces that you'll see throughout MemberNation. That first one, or the one we just saw, is more of a traditional sort of Salesforce interface. Salesforce is the platform that this runs on. And then this is what we're seeing now is more of the kind of wizard interface, or the sort of more easy to fill in. It's more user-friendly. It's a sort of better user experience for creating things. So you'll see, again, those two different interfaces throughout here. So on this first pop-up window that we see, it's basically just asking for the event name. So we're going to call this we'll just call it Training Event January. And you can see that it's letting us know that the event that we're creating is going to have 2 ticket types and 1 venue attached to it based on what was set up at the event category level. Now if we click Save and Continue, it's going to launch into the event builder itself. And it's going to let us know that it's, sort of creating this event that we've started working on. And once this comes up, it's going to have 2 different components. On the right-hand side here, we're going to have basically a preview of what your event looks like so far. And this just helps you to make sure that you've got the components that you want, that it looks the way you want before you actually launch it. And then on the left-hand side are different tabs that you can click on to customize the specific details for this particular event. So first of all, we're going to click on this Event Info tab and take a look at what's in there. Again, it's brought over the name that we set up on the prior screen. You can also have a display name that's different from your event name if you'd like. So if you want to refer to your event publicly as something slightly different, if you want the public name to include the name of the speaker, you can do that. You have those different options. Again, the capacity of 50 carried over from the event category, but we could change it here if we want to. The time zone should pull in based on your user preferences that were set up during the onboarding process. But here is where we would set the start and end date and time. So we'll just say.
Question: if let's say the capacity is for only about 40 people over there, and you send out a mass email, so would the next invitee be able to see that only 30 seats are left and there are 5 other who are?
That is an option. Yep, you can. When you're setting up your ticket types, you have the option to make that sort of countdown available on the screen. So you do have that option if you'd like to set it up that way. And I'll show you where you can make that distinction as well.
Thank you.
Sure. All right, so we're just going to say that this event's going to be on the 22nd of February, and we'll say it's going to go until 2 p.m. And we'll say it's going to start at noon. Okay. And then this is where you would select your banner image. So here you would browse through and find whatever image you want to associate with your event. We'll just select this. All right. Okay. So we've added our image, and then down below, this is where you would indicate all of the details for your event. So your agenda, your speakers, your sponsors, all of those sorts of details you could add here. You could add images if you would like, an image of your speaker, or of, the sponsor logos, all of those sorts of things you can incorporate. Calendar reminder text. You can see over here on the preview, there's this add to calendar button. This basically allows somebody who's looking at your event to click that button to add the details for that event to their own personal calendar. So it has options for a Google Calendar, Outlook, a lot of different calendar options there. So by default, there are just kind of some basic details about your event. So the name of the event and the date. But if you want to customize that, so specific details are provided as part of that calendar, you can input that here. Otherwise, just the default details will go in there. The next tab that we want to look at is the tickets tab here, and you can see again these are the two ticket types that carried over from the event category, but you do have the ability to edit those parameters for those ticket types. You'll see up here in the right hand corner periodically as we go through, you'll get a little message that the record is saving. It does automatically save as you go through the event creation. So if you want to edit some of the components of one of these ticket types, you can drill into that ticket type. So if you click this pencil icon, you'll see that these are the different details that you can edit for the event. We've got the name of the event, the price. So again, you could change these if you want to. We've got ticket waitlisting is enabled. So if you reach capacity for your event, the next individual would be added to a wait list, kind of for tracking purposes. This is where you could check this box to say that you want to show how many tickets remain on the screen. So that again would allow somebody who's registering for your event to see, that there are only 3 tickets left and they might want to go ahead and purchase now. You also does that help answer that question?
Yes, thanks.
Okay. Great. You also have the ability to restrict the number of tickets that can be purchased in any single transaction. So if you don't restrict the quantity here, anybody who goes to register for your event, we saw that drop down of a number of tickets where you could purchase how many you wanted to buy, or where you could indicate how many you wanted to buy. If you don't restrict the quantity, it would have all 50 tickets available there. So somebody could in theory purchase all of the available tickets in one transaction. You can restrict the quantity either because you don't want that to happen, or just because you want it to look a little cleaner when they go in to indicate how many they want to purchase.
And what about free events? Can we still have the countdown to free events?
Yes. Yep. You would just basically still have. You would still set up a ticket type, but you would just say that the price was 0. But then you could still have all of the same functionality available there. You could still have you could still set the capacity. You could still have that countdown showing up. So.
Okay.
The next tab here is the attach form tab, and this is that form that we saw that asked for dietary restrictions and things like that. So basically you can create your form within sort of a form tab within the MemberNation platform to ask all of those questions. And again, you can have different types of questions. It could be a checkbox. It could be a sort of a short answer where somebody types in their response. It can be a pick list where they choose from different options. And then at the ticket type level, you would link that form to that ticket type so that anybody who's purchasing that kind of ticket would be asked those questions, and it will be asked of all of the attendees. So in our sample, we just registered for 1 guest ticket, but if you purchased 1 guest ticket and 1 member ticket, then you both attend. You would basically be asked to fill out that form for both attendees, so that you're collecting that information from everybody who's going to be coming to your event. The alternate pricing tab. This is where you would set up things like early bird pricing or on-site pricing. So if you want to offer a lower rate for someone who registers by a certain date, then you can do that here by enabling that pricing and indicating the early bird price, and then selecting the date that you want that early bird rate to expire. Similarly, you can also set an on-site price. So if you want to charge individuals who register at the event, if you want to charge them slightly more, you can do that as well. And then the accounting tab, this is where you would indicate which of your GL accounts the different types of funds should go to. And again, during the onboarding process, we would gather all of this accounting information from you so that those accounts are set up within your MemberNation details within the MemberNation platform. Okay. So once you have made all of your changes, you would go ahead and save your details that you had changed there. You can see also you have the ability to determine the order in which your tickets should display on the event page. You can choose either high price from low to high or high to low, or you can choose an alphabetical order by name of the ticket. You can also determine the date that you want your ticket sales to start. By default, it will set it to today's date, but if you aren't ready to start selling tickets yet for another week or two, then you can change that date here. And then down below, this is, again, the registration instructions that we had at the event category level carried over to this event, but you can modify this if for this particular event, the registration instructions are slightly different. All right, the Access Permissions tab. What Access Permissions do is they allow you to make certain things visible only to specific groups of individuals. So again, we talked about badging and how your members would have a member badge, your local only members would have a local badge, candidates in the CFA program would have a candidate badge. If you want to make so for example, if you have a members only event and you only want members to even be able to see that event is out there, you could restrict that full event to members only by clicking the restrict and then selecting the member badge. Similarly, you could make your specific ticket types accessible only to those badge types. And again, this is part of what we would walk through when we first start creating your first events. We would figure out how you want to set up your ticket types and your pricing, and we would help you make sure that we get everything set up the way you would like for that first event in the way that works the best for your society. And then the final tab here is your venue tab. Again, the venue is carried over from the event category level, but you can modify it here if for this particular event it's going to be held in a different location. You can also add an image of that venue. You can see that's what would show up over here. So once you've gone in and customized all of the details for your event, then we would go ahead and refresh the screen to just take a look and see how the event looks now that you've customized the details. So you can see the image that's been added. You can see the details that you have added about the event. And you can see that this is the countdown that's showing here, that since we indicated that we wanted that countdown to be displayed for that particular ticket type, you can see that as well. So then at this point, once you were happy with the way your event looked, once everything was set up, and when it's time to actually launch your event and allow individuals to register, you would just change the status from draft to published. The system would confirm for you that it's going to be launched with these two ticket types. Click continue. It's going to say, okay, your ticket sales are starting now. Obviously, if we had set the ticket sales out by that date out by a week or two, that date would change there. And then we're going to go ahead and say publish. So now at this point, this event is launched and is live, but obviously you would need to grab the URL for that event in order to publicize it on your society website or by email. So to grab that URL, we actually have to go back to the actual Salesforce interface. So you can see that there's this Edit in Salesforce button. So if we click that, it will take us out of this event builder and to the main Salesforce or MemberNation interface. We can see that we're in edit mode right now, and you can see these are all of the parameters that we set up in that event builder interface. This is where they're kind of fed into the back end of the MemberNation tool itself. But we don't need to be in edit mode right now. So we can either save or cancel depending on whether we have changes that we've added since it was last saved, which in this case we didn't really, but I click save just to be on the safe side. And then this is the URL itself that we would grab. So this is the URL that, again, you would send out by email. You would add it to your event calendar on your website, all of those sorts of things. And then somebody who is interested in registering for your event would click on that link, and they would be taken through that same process that we saw when we first walked through the registration process. So any questions about how you set up events, what that process looks like? Obviously, when you're ready to actually onboard, we would go into this in a lot more detail, but this at least gives you an overview of what the platform looks like.
Just one question. Once, let's say, the event is over, do we have an option of re-engaging with the people who actually attended by probably sending a feedback to get a feedback, get them fill a feedback form or something like that?
Yes, so you would be able to, you can see right here, there's this view all attendees button. In fact, let me see if I can, if we go back to our earlier event.
These are attendees who actually registered themselves, but in practical cases, there might be people who haven't registered themselves and are still there. So is there a possibility to manually enter their names post-event? Post-event?
You can do that as well. So this is the earlier event that we were looking at. You can see you have the ability to add a new attendee right here. So you could do that if you want to capture their information. And then, like you were saying, if you want to reach out to those individuals, you have this view all attendees sort of link here that you can see information for those individuals here. You also have a report. There's actually several different types of reports down below. So you can pull up information easily on those attendees. This report here allows you to provide or automatically update CE credits for individuals. I say automatically. What it will actually do is pull into an easy report that you can then use to update the individual's CE credits using the CE admin tool. So you have all of those sorts of functionality. And again, you can see your list of attendees here, and you can easily reach out to those individuals. What you could do, for example, if you did want to send, a survey or something like that to those individuals, you could easily run a report within the system of the individuals who came to that event or who registered for that event. And then you could, with this new email marketing that we'll be releasing within the next week or two, then you could easily link, you could easily create either your survey or your communication, and you could link it to a report of those individuals who are registered for your event to ask them questions or get feedback on how the event went, whatever sort of communication you want to send to those individuals.
Okay.
Any other questions at this point?
Not from my side, thanks.
Okay. All right. Then, so next steps, basically. We've had a chance to take a look at the platform, what it looks like both from the point of view of somebody registering for an event, what it looks like from the point of view of a society administrator creating your event. So you may be interested in getting some more information, first of all, and the Society Center is the place to go to get all of those details. And I will show you, as promised, the information that's on the Society Center about MemberNation. It's under the resources section and then technology. And then within the technology section, there's a lot of different information about MemberNation as a whole. So there's the MemberNation landing page here. And this talks about what MemberNation is, why societies might want to use it, what the benefits are, some of the different functionality that's available. And it also provides you with kind of the latest information about where we're at in the MemberNation project. Obviously, this is a multi-year project to release all of these different themes. So the MemberNation roadmap here is essentially a schedule of where we're at, what we plan to release when throughout this project. So you can reference that if you want to kind of see what's coming up down the road. And you can also see a project update that's updated on a weekly basis to show you exactly where we're at with all of the different components. This gives you, sort of the nitty-gritty details of exactly where we're at in all of the different themes. And then in addition to this landing page, we have different phases of the onboarding process, or of the MemberNation project kind of process. So the first phase is the learn phase. So this, again, is a good place to go to find out more about MemberNation. There are fact sheets about MemberNation as a whole. There's a fact sheet about the email marketing component that's coming up, so you might reference that as well to get some more information about kind of the questions that you've had about communicating to your members and your contacts. There are two different videos that you can reference. One is just a brief overview of MemberNation. One is a slightly longer demo that, again, walk you through a lot of what we've covered today. And then there's essentially a welcome kit that helps you learn more about actually getting started with MemberNation and getting sort of learning more about the onboarding process. The next phase after the learn phase is the train phase. And again, once societies are onboarded, or at least have started the onboarding process, this is where a lot of the training materials will come in handy, but you can also reference these ahead of time. So if you want more information about sort of the MemberNation in general, you can find information here. This is that event checklist that we talked about, so you might want to reference that to figure out some of the details that you would need in order to set up your first event. This walks you through, again, creating an event category if you need to create a new one, the process of setting up your first event. And then here's where we talked about ticket types and pricing. This is a good reference here, is this price setup option. This walks you through some of the different ways that you might decide to structure your pricing and your ticket type. So this, again, helps you kind of see the pros and cons of the different types of options that are there. And then you've, again, got a lot of different information about some of the administrative tasks that you might want to do behind the scenes, and then a little bit more about managing your contacts within MemberNation. So again, a good reference point to see what some of those training materials are all about. And then once a society is onboarded onto the system and they've set up their first event, then they move into what's called the adopt phase, where the society is actually using the platform, but we're still sort of working with them very closely to make sure that they feel comfortable and to get them up to speed and get their first events up and running. And then once a society has achieved that sort of level of comfort and they don't need as much sort of one-on-one kind of hands-on work with CFA Institute, then they move into what's called the succeed phase, where they're comfortable in the system and they're using it regularly. And it's sort of a maintenance phase where they, we're definitely there to help and provide support and do any troubleshooting that's needed. But the society is more comfortable and they're kind of on their own as far as creating their events and things like that. So again, you can certainly reference all of those materials on the Society Center. Also on the Society Center there, we have what's called the Readiness Survey. And I don't know for sure if you've taken that yet, but you can, if you haven't and you would like to, it's under the Learn phase. And there's a link to it right here, the Onboarding Readiness Survey. And essentially what that does is I think it's a 7-question survey that just asks you how comfortable you are with the tool, if you have sort of the resources in place, sort of technologically, to work on this project. Although, as we've seen, it doesn't require you to know anything like coding or anything like that. So there's definitely not that level of technology that's required. But again, you can use that survey to sort of gauge your own readiness, and it would also help us to gauge your readiness to move into the onboarding phases of the project. So again, it's just a sort of the preliminary phase to get you comfortable with what might be involved in the onboarding process. So again, if you haven't taken that and would like to, that's out there for you. And then always, Society Tech is always available as a resource, so you can certainly email us if you have any questions as a result of this call, or if anything occurs to you as you start thinking about possibly onboarding, then you can reach out there. So any questions about anything we've covered here? Again, we've recorded this call, and so we'll make that available to you as needed, as well as this PowerPoint presentation. any questions?
So nothing from my side. It seems wonderful. I hope we're able to use it to
Okay,
the
great.
maximum.
Great. All right, anything from you, Sharon?
No, it was great. Thanks, Megan.
Sure. All right, well then I will let you go, and again, we'll make these resources available for you, and we'll hope to talk to you soon.
Sure.
Thanks so much.
Megan, I sent you the workbook on the email. Some of it has not been filled because I could not understand. So, if you can just have a look at it and see what needs to be filled, if you can just guide us,
Sure.
we good.
Okay, we'll definitely do that.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.